Okay, people. So this is February 7th, 2018. I think I'm gonna put some rollers in my hair today. Serious, people. Ever since I moved into this house and I got into that yard, my life kind of took a turn for something else. Don't get me wrong. I'm just happy with the yard. I'm happy with the fact that I can grow food, and I got to put a pond in, and I'm getting ready now to start working on another pond. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be probably working on it in the next couple of 2-3 weeks. I'm going to try and get this pond in within the next month or two. And all the brick, all the laying of the walkways, everything in the front that needs to be done. And then, a few of those brick slabs, cement slabs, I'm going to put along in here. Now, that's like really grody, hard work. That's exhausting, but it needs to be done because I have to finish up what I started, people. I mean, obviously, I've been working on it for like 8 years now, right? And, I'm coming near to the tail end of it. And, so you never really get time to curl your hair and put on nice clothes. And, I haven't been able to sew anything in all these years, people. So like, the clock is ticking for me. I'm 55, gonna be 56 in a couple more weeks from now. 56 is getting old, right? And I don't feel very well. Like I said, got the pressure and the ringing in the ears, and, my eyes are going on me, and my body aches all the time, and, my short-term memory is going on me because of my eyes and stuff, and I'm having to think and work twice as hard. I've been under stress for a long, basically since 2003 and on, right? Obviously some years is worse than other years. Currently, it's like at the height because I'm dealing with, corrupt and evil corporations, right? In terms of like Fraser Health Authority and their slander against my persons and everything that I represent in terms of my nonprofit, and they're slandering my family, and they've injured Uncle John, and they've injured my kids, they've permanently injured my grandchildren with this Uncle John cloud hanging over our heads, and and all for corporate profit, people, just so they can continue doing what they're doing as these little houses sit empty and the homeless number increase. And, instead of dealing with the corruption in our society on a corporate level, everybody wants to put their focus on the most vulnerable and blame them for being homeless, right? When in fact, the few people that are already off the street are calming down, people. Like they're saying, like, we actually get to sleep. Like, it's just nice to be able to sleep. And, obviously it's going to take some time for them to relocate within themselves. And it's like I said, you're almost like in a cocoon, right? And, there's that metamorphosis going on, right? And it takes time for that to happen. And then what comes out normally is a beautiful butterfly, right? So hopefully we'll get a lot of butterflies out of this, So in the meantime, I'm having panic attacks every day, people, because of this pressure with Fraser Health Authority. I feel like such a failure. I feel like I failed Uncle John, right? It would have been different, people, if he would have left on his own. I have had 5 kids. I've been in and out of relationships. I've, kicked out men in my life, and men have kicked me out of their lives. So it's not anything I can't handle. Uncle John didn't leave on his own accord. He was taken. He was medically kidnapped. He was used and abused. He was exploited. He was terrorized. He was destroyed. His life was destroyed, people, so that his sister, right, and the rest of his family, in terms of his extended family, got that bone, got that money. When I say bone, I mean money, people, because they are government employees. They work for the union, and they need to find ways to prop up their benefit packages, because that's where a huge disparity within our society is. Within 4.6 million people in the province of British Columbia, Canada. There are only about 400,000 government employees that take up more than 57% of the provincial budget just for their wages, their disability packages, their pension plans, their life insurance policies, their dental plans, their healthcare plans, their expenses, and other perks that they find along the way. 57%, more than 57% of the total provincial budget goes up to prop up 400,000 people out of 4.6 million. What is that telling you, people? And these are the services that they are providing to us. Empty houses, a crisis with homeless people taking the brunt of the scorn that's in our society, blaming them for the corrupt politics that goes on to fuel greed. To fuel greed, people. Uncle John was taken over greed because Auntie Joan left him something in her superannuation life insurance policy, enough to spark what they did to him without telling him for 13 months that she left him money. They either were waiting for him to die so that they could wheel and deal behind closed doors saying, oh, Mr. Duncan is dead, now it goes here. Or they were waiting for him to get sick and then do what they did. Well, Fraser Health Authority is protecting that behavior, that activity, that criminal activity. Because it doesn't just start and stop with Uncle John. It goes to that little house, that little house, that little house, that little house, that old person, that old person, that old person, and that old person. As the numbers out in the street get larger and larger and larger, because whoever is buying these little houses, they're not renting them out, people. They're sitting empty, which is another form of criminal activity. Well, the government apparently doesn't give a shit about it, because at the end of the day, they cater to the union. The union has the government by the balls. If the union doesn't get what the union wants, what does the union do? It strikes. So all the schools shut down, government offices shut down, healthcare system shuts down. So the government has to allow or find a way to keep that economy going. And the only thing that's keeping the economy going right now in the province of British Columbia, Canada, people, is house sales. Overinflated house sales. With most of those sales being bought up by people that, like, again, have no Canadian values, don't care about the Canadian people. They're strictly capitalist. They're not racist. They're just capitalist. When in fact they are racist. Many of them are racist people. Forget the word capitalist. Put it for what it is. There are racist people moving into Canada that don't give a shit about Canadian people and are raping this province. And they're using our public healthcare system to facilitate that pillaging of that person and their assets, that person and their assets, and that person and their assets. And Uncle John was just the bone. Uncle John was just the bone for the crooked nurse to go in there and say, I want this one, this one, this one, this one. Because at the end of the day, when she's giving you your inoculation, she doesn't give a shit about you. All she's thinking about is her retirement package. All she's thinking about is her life insurance policy. All she's thinking about is her dental plan and her medical plan. That's all she's thinking about, people. She's not thinking about the public. Because if she was thinking about the public, if her co-workers were thinking about the public, if that corporation was thinking about the public, I would not be sitting here talking about the things that I am talking about, trying to take it into a court of law, being played off for a freaking fool, because I don't know how to be a scoundrel and bring in unrelated court cases as my defense in a mock kangaroo court trial, because I'm already bought and paid for. This lawyer firm that represents Fraser Health Authority is already bought and paid for, people. It has no ethics. They do not operate under an ethical code that they signed up for. They are protecting criminal activity. They are protecting gang organization. Because they have to prop up those union benefits. And every now and then, they'll toss a bone to those corrupt leaders within the union, like Uncle John's sister, so that she's obligated to continue that cycle. And that's why she's not being held accountable. Because they got their eyeballs on that person with that house. They got their eyeballs with that person on that house. And if it's not the house, it's the stocks and bonds. It's that ICBC car insurance money that person maybe has in the bank. Maybe they don't own property, but maybe they got $700,000 sitting in a bank because they got hit by a car and it got settled out of court. Who knows? But those are the ones that they're targeting. Whether through its public guardian trustee or whether it's through individuals, as in what happened to Uncle John, to keep those corrupt supervisors and senior union staff satisfied. Because it's all built on greed, people. Greed, greed, greed. So I don't know why my life is like this. Honest to God, I don't. Like, I don't like my life, people. I really don't. I don't even like fucking Canada anymore. This is no place that I want to be. Because this country is so corrupt. They bring in all these drugs and they feed it to children. And then when the children grow up with these drugs and become completely sick and disoriented with these drugs that were introduced to them as children through the school system, within the communities, then all that happens to them is they get abused out in the streets. That's it. They were set up to fail as teenagers. The majority of these people that are struggling with addictions these days. As the young people today, the 12, the 13, the 14s, and the 15s are still being targeted to keep that cycle going. Right? As the ones that are bringing this shit into the community and giving it to the kids are amassing great wealth as they buy another house, another house, another house. Because it's sure in the hell not poor people bringing this crap into the communities. We know how the healthcare system feels and treats these people. Right? All you have to do is go out in the streets and see for yourself how the healthcare system treats these people. All you have to do is look at my videos and listen to me, and you can see how the healthcare system treats these people. Even though it's contrary to everything that it says under their rules, acts, and regulations of multiple sorts that mean absolutely nothing in a court of law when you actually present it to a judge and you challenge the corporation on their hypocrisy. So I'm aging very quickly. My body is falling apart. Right? From the stress, people. That's the game. That's what they do. They know stress kills people. They know poor people are stressed out. And they make sure you stay stressed out so that you die sooner than you're supposed to. Right? They have all the resources. We know that gang stalking exists in our society. We know that there are targeted individuals for various reasons in our society. We know that we're dealing with energy weapons that only cameras can pick up from time to time, as mine have. But we don't talk about that because it's too controversial, right? It's a conspiracy theory, right? Even though it's been already stated time after time that the government is 25 years in advance when it comes to technology, right? So anyway, besides all that point, you know, it's just going to go around and around and around and around and around and around. Like, I'm going to just do the best that I can. And there's not much I can do other than what I'm already doing. I'm putting Andre first. I'm going to just start putting Andre Moore first, right? Because he's going to have a hard road ahead of him in this country, because this country is corrupt. Canada is corrupt. For these corporations to continue to do what they do, just so that they can prop up their own wages, and that's all it's for, people. And we're not just talking minimum wage, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars per person on top of any benefits that they get along the way, right? On the low scale, you're looking at maybe $30,000, $40,000, but on average it's $80,000 and up in terms of their disability packages and their pension plans and all this other fucking crap. Joan herself sucked up millions and millions and millions of dollars, people, from the healthcare system, going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, feeding tubes, oxygen tanks, oh this and oh that, and it just was ongoing. It never fucking stopped. Millions of dollars. If they could spend millions of dollars on Auntie Joan, I'm sure they can invest a few millions of dollars more into the people who really need it the most. But no, instead, Fraser Health Authority is more interested in the soft kill method, right? That's pretty apparent. It's genocide in Canada, people. Fraser Health Authority participates in genocide in Canada. These houses sitting empty, as local governments and provincial governments know that it's happening and allow it to continue to happen, because at the end of the day, as they're sitting on their boards, they're not thinking about their constituency. They're just thinking about, well, this is my portfolio, and in my portfolio, I got this and this and this, and if I just do this, for another couple of more years, I'll have another one. I got another one in my portfolio. That's one thing Uncle John said to me. These people that work in the government, they're not interested in representing their constituencies. They're interested in how many life insurance policies and how many retirement packages and how many of this and how many of that is in their portfolios. He said those are Uncle John's words. That's what the people that represent this province and put themselves out as a public servant. That's what they're working for, people. They're working for their portfolios, and it's pretty freaking apparent, okay? You can see that with what happened to Uncle John. Just as a reminder, people. Okay? What's the date on it, people? What's the date on it? Uncle John was medically kidnapped under suspicious circumstances on February 20th, on or about, more like February 23rd, when I walked in and there was that crowd of people around with somebody in a hammock, with some old crow, probably Eleanor. I don't want to say your last name, bitch. What are you doing? Get out of here. You're being disrespectful. No, I wasn't. I was standing at the door and said, "Where's John? Get out of here! Get out of here!" Huh? I bet you her heart fucking jumped for a minute. Well, you know what? That bitch's heart can be jumping right up until the day she's fucking dead. And when she goes to fucking hell, then she's not gonna have no heart. You're not gonna be just flakes of nothing. So, what's Eleanor gonna do? Is she gonna get her abusive husband to impersonate John again? Just like when they phoned up the CIBC bank and impersonated him on the 23rd, saying that he gave Eleanor the right to take over his account as he was on the ferry, telling his immediate family to fuck you. I don't ever want to talk to you again. Huh? But if you notice, they had to call the call center through his credit card in order to get in. Right? Bank fraud, people. Something else Fraser Health doesn't want to take responsibility for. It happened under their watch. They're the ones who detained him to have it happen so that the mail could be transferred illegally. Right? And once he was on that ferry on the 23rd, Well, you think he sat up there, was drinking tea, eating a crumpet, saying, oh yeah, just, call my credit card for me. That's the most important thing on my mind. And make it so that you can really stick it to Judy and the kids, because I don't ever want to see them again. You can just take over my life, Eleanor, and do what the fuck you want with it, because, I trust you. You're my loving sister. I trust you. Do you honestly think that Uncle John did that on the 23rd all by himself? No. He was in a hammock, people, sleeping on the ferry, drugged up. Well, Eleanor's husband got up on the fucking phone and impersonated Uncle John so that they could steal his bank account and everything else that was connected to it, including any money that Auntie Joan may have left Uncle John that they failed to inform him about until they almost killed him, really. So what are they going to do? Phone up this company? Here you go, Eleanor. Do you see? You want to phone up this company? Or what are you going to do? You going to impersonate John and sit up there and say, John was a retard in 1995 when Shimei was born? And he didn't know what he was doing? Just like when you phoned up the Royal Bank with your fucky husband, and John was a retard in year 2000. He didn't know what he was doing when he wanted to reestablish his credit in 2000 with Judy Chorney at the Royal Bank of Canada. So that you don't have to take responsibility for the criminal activity that you perpetrated upon this family. I dare you, call them up, see what they're going to say. You think they're going to cancel this shit? They never canceled the Royal account. I can pull out a royal fucking bill here. Where? Let's find one right now. Let's find one. Let's find a Royal. I got one. Hold on. It's around here somewhere. Do you see, people? What do you see there? Do you see? Do you see the bank statement? Do you see his name? Right there. Didn't work, Eleanor. Didn't work, Eleanor. I dare you to impersonate John. Okay, people. You tell me if this looks legal to you. Does that look legal to you, people? Does that look legal to you? Look at the date on it, people. Do you see the date? Do you see the date? Do you see that, people? I don't give a shit, Eleanor. You're going fucking down, bitch. The corporation that you work for, this will haunt Andre. Sorry, Andrew. Andre doesn't have a future. Canada is like the Congo. People can just come into your life, grab you, chop off your arms and legs, smack you around, stomp on your head a few times, and then just grab one of your limbs, what's left, and drag you out to the fucking field, and then just do what they please with you. That's the kind of country we live in now. You see this, people? I'm sure Uncle John wouldn't mind. Like I said, people, if he would have left on his own, it would have been different. But he did. He was medically kidnapped, all right? And there's ramifications around that, people. He had a family that he loved, okay? He's not going to get Shimei her little trust fund when she's born, after he was the first one to hold her when she was born, from the doctor to Uncle John. And then just say, fuck you. I don't love you no more. On this day, which is not a legal document, people. Nothing legal about it. and the master and the judge and the lawyers, they know it. Here's when they're on the ferry and John's just having his tea and his crumpets. This credit card got paid off in full in October of 2015. It just disappeared. It was $13,000 credit card. Gone. Only $1,600 was paid on it prior to October of 2015, and then it just gone, disappeared. All of a sudden, Uncle John had enough money to pay off a $13,000 credit card and bank $500 a month into a registered savings plan that he'll never use, people, because he's in a diaper drooling, being fed a lie, being told that he can't see his loved ones because he's not better yet. We got that on video, Andrew. You see? Right up in here. This is the part I'm going to read to you. Dear John Duncan, this one didn't get... It's amazing it didn't get sent to Eleanor. I guess God was on my side that day. Because the mail transfer had already been put in. But for some reason this came to the house and I have it. Further your recent conversation with our office, we wish to confirm that based on your one-time only verbal authorization, Uncle John on the ferry, drinking tea, eating English crumpets with the Catholic priest sitting beside him so he doesn't die as he crosses over, on the phone saying, I give my sister Eleanor the right to take over my life. Do as she pleases. Here's the phone. Talk to her. Don't bother me no more. I'm busy drooling over there when I'm not passed out from the drugs that they feed me. Because really, there's nothing I can do about it. Because I'm stuck on this ferry and I don't have a choice. So she gets up on the phone. Eleanor Gilding will be authorized to speak to CIBC with respect to the above caption matter. She wanted to talk about the credit card on February 23rd of 2015 after she wrote herself a little fucking note thinking I was an idiot. Because she thought that her union would protect her. To which it appears to be doing so, people. And that's the point of this fucking video. Because I'm sick of it. Should you wish to permanently add a third-party contact to handle your financial affairs, you may do so in writing to CIBC. Okay, well, we know what happened. John went to emergency the minute he got off the ferry. They probably had to resuscitate him once he realized what happened to him. They gave him more dope so that he could cope with it, right, and sleep through the process of withdrawal and, you know, losing his family and being completely helpless to do anything about it, right? As they were, within the first week, talking to Shimei on the phone, asking where his superannuation life insurance policy was, as they were accusing me now of stealing his ID, which I still have, right? Because they had to concoct a story, people, right, as to how they found him. Oh, look at it, look how we found him. Look, he's all sick and, you know, he's, and just dope him up and, you know, he can't, his lungs are congested because he never did get better in the 39 days when he was under Fraser Health Authorities in terms of, you know, they didn't give him enough physiotherapy. They kept giving him fucking drugs. You know, they started giving him a puffer. They gave him a fucking shot, right? They were gaslighting him, right? They were psychologically doing warfare against him. They had him on some fucking bell bed that kept ringing randomly whenever, just ding, 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 ding. You know, like all hours of the day, night or day, it didn't matter to the point where he started having fucking nightmares. You know, that's called, I guess, diesel therapy. You know? No, diesel therapy is when they stuck him in the fucking hammock and shipped him on the ferry as he was sleeping and then took him to emergency before he woke up because they fucking knew what was gonna fucking happen while this bitch was doing this. And this is what Andrew wants to protect. So, I dare you, phone and impersonate Uncle John.